What if you could live your life judgment-free? Are you ready to live the unapologetic, confident life that God designed for you? If you are, then this is the place to be. Welcome to the Bold, Brave, and Sassy Show. It's time to break free of physical, spiritual, and heart-centered challenges that have held you back for way too long. Listen in for powerful tips and tools to help you break free today. Hear from leading experts along with me, Annie Berryhill, your host and personal guide to freedom. Now it's time to live like no one's judging. Let's go. Hey there, everybody. It's Annie Berryhill, host of this show, The Bold, Brave, and Sassy Show. Welcome in if you're listening for the first time. And if you're a return guest, thank you. Mwah! I love you. Thank you so much for being here. So today I have a really special guest, my friend Jessica Vaughn. And Jessica is a really, really special lady. She and I actually are in a similar space in that we really are passionate about fitness, nutrition, health, and also the inner workings of the woman, because we know the struggles that we go through as the ladies. So let me tell you a little bit about Jessica before we jump into what is going to be, no doubt, a lively, encouraging conversation. So Jessica's passion is to help others become confident and fearless, and to know their identity and worth comes from Christ. She inspires and encourages thousands by sharing her own personal struggles, her victories, and her journey through life. Jessica runs a successful online faith and fitness business and is the founder of the online member community, Own Your Worth. Jessica is also the author of 3 books, Know Your Worth, A Worthy Wife, and Own Your Worth. Those are very powerful titles. So Jessica, welcome to the Bold, Brave, and Sassy Show today. Thanks for being here.
I am so excited. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, for people who are just listening to the podcast, I always record these in video. So I just love seeing your smiling face. It's great to have you. I know it's so silly, but we can be silly. That's what sassy is. I don't care.
Yes, agree.
So I have been following you, being connected to you for a little while, and we've had, kind of parallel journeys in some senses.
Mm-hmm.
You're a little bit younger than me. How old are you?
30.
Okay, I'm 52. So yes, I could be your mother. But that's what I love about being around people your age is that I don't have to be your mother, and we can have this really cool conversational relationship that has no connection to parental. It's just 2 humans talking and having fun together. So
yes,
we're excited. So one of the things that I always like to do on this show is to leave people with an understanding of who you are and your journey. And I'd love for you to share a little bit, because it was mentioned in your bio about how you encourage people through what you've been through and your journey and what you've learned along the way. So just give us a little background, because your books, I think, are sort of the arrival of the place that all the struggles led to. So Know Your Worth, A Worthy Wife, and Own Your Worth. We're talking a lot about worth. So what led to that?
Yes. Well, how much time do you have?
Short story. Come on, give me the Reader's Digest.
I'm just kidding. Okay. So it all started basically before I started my book. I started as an entrepreneur at the age of 21. So I started my fitness business, and it was kind of this thing for me. I felt like it was a release. I felt like finally I had found something that I could do that I was good at, that was quote unquote drawing attention on social media. I was building this business. I was, doing all the things. I became a fitness instructor. I was teaching Shalane Johnson's format, Hustle, PIO, and Turbo. And then I became a personal trainer. And so I wanted all these titles. And in the meantime, the inside, right, was a broken girl. I was angry all the time. I was reactive more than I was just proactive, like, dealing with my emotions. And I was jealous regardless of the way my body looked, 6-pack, not whatever, all the muscle. I just still wasn't happy. I was tired all the time. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, I was dating and I was allowing myself to try to search for love. And so fitness and love for me always went hand in hand as my God, little g. And so I was just kind of trying to serve my body. I was trying to serve the guy I was dating. I would transform. I would change who I was because of that. So in 2014, I hit this year where it all kind of started coming down. And I felt like the Lord had finally got a hold of me and just was like, if you're not going to recognize this yourself, I'm going to do it for you type of thing. And I say it was the year from hell. And that was the first chapter I wrote in Know Your Worth, is that I started with a dating relationship that completely wrecked my world in a short time. And that whole year, it was just nothing seemed to be going right. My business was stagnant. My life was stagnant. And I just birthed Know Your Worth because I felt like the Lord was just saying, like, what are you focusing on? What are you putting your attention on? And that led to, A Worthy Wife and Own Your Worth, which was released last year. So it's really this discovery that I help women with of, yes, I know that you want a relationship or you want XYZ, but there's usually this underlying feeling or emotion or something that you're dealing with or not dealing with that is bringing up all the things that you think you need or that you're searching for. And so that for me was my worth. And like, who is he calling me? Like, what does he say about me? Because I was always up and down. It was like all the emotion. I was on an emotional roller coaster every day. And I was like, it's time to get off the roller coaster. And so, yeah, that's kind of the short story, but all three books kind of you can see the journey of just kind of my life, but A Worthy Wife is really for the women. And then Own Your Worth is kind of this, not a rival, but the truth, like packed with action. So.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. So I have read a portion of Know Your Worth. I haven't gotten to the other two yet. So now I'm really excited to dig into those. Great.
They're my favorite. Unbiased though.
Right. Unbiased. Well, and I think, we're not here to just live solitary lives. I mean, how many times does it talk about community and, discipleships? What we learn, we teach to other people, whether informally or formally. That way our life is not a waste. The struggles that we go through, yes, in an ideal world, we grow from it and we become different on the other end, but there's somebody watching you and there's somebody seeing what happens to you and somebody else who needs that sort of progress as well. And so to be able to share your story and to be bold enough and confident enough and committed enough to write books, I mean, that's a big undertaking in itself. It takes a lot to be able to do that. So it's really powerful. And in my book, you're very young. And so you're very evolved. I mean, you're not very young to probably yourself. You see all you've been through, but like looking back at 52, I can look at myself in 30 and go, there's no way that I'd be that evolved. I wasn't that evolved. I had two kids and I was doing other things, but man, like I'm so impressed. You figured it out so early, it's awesome.
Thank you.
But we have to understand that at any age, we can go through that progress that helps us to move to the next place and to develop and grow. So it's never too late. It's never too late. And that's what I love. And I too have found it's interesting because I think people are a finite menu of possibilities in the sense that you can see the patterns. So if someone is struggling in one way, you can kind of trace it back and go, well, it's likely that they experience this and they're just acting out of that. Right. And so many times people have a similar story, having worked in fitness and nutrition for a long time, where you see the outside that somebody is working so hard to have a perfect body and just relentless and obsessed and everything is about that. And you kind of have to step back and go, what's really going on here?
Yeah.
And then you'll find out, of course, that there's something broken or, like you said, they're trying to avoid by this pursuit of perfect externally. So it's powerful stuff. And I hope that, if you're listening, when you're listening, if that strikes a nerve, know that it's not wrong or weird that you're that way, but just having the awareness is the start of being able to do something about it. Because just like you said, it probably is not leading them to very good places.
I think it's an evaluation of wanting to be healthier in whatever that is for you, not social media healthy. And I mean that by, what I'm talking about, the Fitspo accounts, the eat a salad every day, the eat salmon, and here's a 6-pack ab. And You see them do all their competitions. Like, I'm talking about a life that you can live every day that is joyful, that you look forward to, that you're not forcing yourself to work out, because if you don't, then there's a consequence.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about food rules a lot, because we put rules on food and how we should work out, and it keeps us kind of in this prison. And when I talk about people, when it comes to fitness and exercises, when I was a personal trainer, because I don't really personal train anymore in person, but I could have somebody stepping on a stepper for an hour and they probably wouldn't even notice, because they were just talking the whole time. And to me, that told me it's not about, the exercise they're doing. It's about them just moving their body and saying what they feel. And to me, that's where I'm at with women. I don't do diet plans.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the opposite of what I used to teach of, here's XYZ, let's follow this plan. But what I'm all about is the freedom living, where you can enjoy a dinner with your husband without being so worried, or you can go play with your kids or have this snack, or not be so strict with, you've got to do XYZ in order to get quote unquote results.
Exactly. And what I have found, I know a lot of people who are choosing nutritional plans because they have specific athletic goals, right? In CrossFit, you want to be leaner, lighter, stronger. That's the name of the game. And a lot of people who are never going to make it to the upper echelons of the sport, but they're competitive by nature, that works for them, right? The discipline. But for 97% of the people who are in no way, shape, or form going to make their living with their body like that, like a fitness model, an athlete, that kind of thing. For 97% of the people, to just learn the things that you're talking about, the things that make them free, like eat the right kind of foods, be mindful when you're eating, eat slower, and move your body every day in a way that you enjoy and you'll do consistently. That is such a simple formula. And it's so simple that people don't believe it can work, right? Cut out the sugar, the soda, right? I mean, that's a huge one. That's wrong. Every single person knows that soda is not an integral part of a nutritious diet. Everyone knows that. And if they say they don't, they're lying. And it's because they don't want to change. Right? But it's so much simpler than we make it. I don't know about you. Do you, when you go out with people that you've trained or know that you're into nutrition and health, do they make excuses for what they eat while they're around you?
Sometimes, not so much anymore, because I really tried to, they will sometimes, but I really have been trying to give them permission, or I step away from it, or I reaffirm it. When people see me, they'll say, I've been doing this, or, I've been doing that, and I'll get back to it. And, to me, I just want people to come from a place, like you said, of, even with when people say the right foods, that's where people get mixed up, because they're like, just tell me what to eat. And it's kind of this thing, though, in my own healing journey, because I have suffered from thyroid and adrenal fatigue, and I'm actually still on that healing journey, is that to me, fitness and nutrition is 360 degrees different now in how I teach it, because once you experience any of those, it will change your world, because it's not about the right foods. It's about the right food for you.
Yes.
Which is why when we say the right foods, it's a banana can be great for you, Annie, but it could be terrible for me. But it's not a bad food.
Right.
But we label it good or bad because we see the social media fitness pros saying you shouldn't have this because of this, but you have to be so careful to not fall into the trap of the do's and the don'ts, the rules, the good foods, the bad foods. It's what's going to work for you right now in your season and in your life and where your body's at.
Yeah. And also where you want to go. Because for some people, they need to get back to square one.
Yeah.
Right. They need to get healthy. And then we can talk about, and of course, if you lose extra body fat and weight and stuff, that usually leads to some healthier test results and healthier ways of feeling. But really, we're working on health first and foremost. If you're in a disease state, moving you to the basics of being health is, you got to pass through that before you go into wellness, which is beyond health. Health I look at is just sort of the plumb line. That's the basic stuff. It's funny. Recently I was at a baseball game, and I am sort of contrarian in how I live sometimes. And I like to make people freak out a little bit. Cause I know for me, people who know that I'm in fitness and nutrition, I have no way, shape, or form a perfect body. I'm constantly working on it because I know the type of shape I like to be in to feel the best, right? That I know it by feel, right? And I know by the way my clothes feel. That's how I sort of evaluate it. And I've had hypothyroid since I was 25 or 23. I found out I have insulin resistance in a weird way where it's reactive hypoglycemia. So it's not the typical way that somebody else might have a type 2 diabetes or an insulin resistance. It's like I squirt out too much insulin and it makes my blood sugar go low really fast. And so I have to be careful about having too many carbs. I love carbs. I'm the first one to tell you, I love carbs, but I have to be careful. I have to eat it with fat. My thyroid means I have to do a little bit gluten-free. But it's so funny. I was at the ball game and I got nachos. Come on, like you're at the ball game, right? I have some nachos. It's the crappiest food on the planet, but it's delicious, right? And this friend that I always see there, I've done some work with her and done some consulting with her. And no joke, I walk up and both she and her husband, their eyes bugged out of their heads and both of their mouths dropped open like, you're eating that? And I'm like, yeah, and watch, I'm not even going to die. Right?
Yeah.
It's just people get so extreme, like you said. It's this, I've got to be totally locked in 100% of the time, counting every calorie and macro, counting every calorie that I burn on my little Apple Watch Fitbit thingy, and becoming so obsessed that we lose touch with those things that tell us and show us and help us to feel it, right? Because it's the idea of when you can't count, right? You can't measure. You have to know how to do it. You have to know what the right amount of food looks like for your body, right? So, and that too adds to what you talked about in the freedom. That gives people freedom.
And what I've learned is that I learned in my own journey is that I was willing to sacrifice energy, being nice to people, living a life of just movement and being able to move for a body that I thought I had to have in order to be loved and liked. And so that's what I see happening now is what's the quickest way that I can lose weight, even if I'm miserable, I am not happy, I'm snapping at my kids, I'm snapping at my husband, but you know what? I'm getting this body that I want. And so instead of just slowing the roll, we're like, what supplement can I take? What instant whatever can I do? Instead of, no, what can I do right now that is going to last long term, that I can move my body? Because you can lose weight without a diet plan. You can lose weight. Yes. Like it goes so contrary to what the world tells us on a daily basis. You can lose weight without a workout plan and a diet plan.
Right.
And it all goes back to the basics, like you said, Annie, but nobody wants to do them because it's too easy. And it's free. It's free to walk 10,000 steps a day. It's free to drink, a liter or whatever of water every day.
Exactly.
And those are the things that I like drill in to people. It's available to us all the time. But it's that instant gratification.
And I was just going to say that is exactly, people want the results now. And sometimes I've had clients say to me, well, I want to lose this 40 pounds. How long do you think it'll take me? Can I do it in 3 months? And I will flat out say to them, how long did it take you to get this fat? How long did it take you? Did it take you 3 years? So you're telling me that what took you 3 years to do is going to take you 3 months to undo? You can lose some weight really fast in the beginning, but it's always been my experience that the faster you lose it, the faster you put it back on, right? Because you don't create a lifestyle that you can sustain. And I know that's sort of overused in the fitness and nutrition world, is this lifestyle thing, but easing into it or learning a habit over and over again until it becomes automatic, like eating your food slowly, eating to 80% full so that you could get up from the dinner table and go dance, right? Those are things that you don't need a plan for that. That's just a habit. That's just something you can do. That's super easy, but you're right. People believe it's too easy and it will take too long.
And the thing about it is that the diet plans and stuff, like you said, they'll produce results. But if you don't change anything else in your life, the stressors, the chemicals, things in your house that we take for granted that we don't even think about that are making us toxic, our friends, our relationships, it ain't going to change.
Exactly.
Therefore, like you said, and that's why the percentage is like what, 93% gain the weight back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, like you said, lifestyle, yes, has been used a lot, but it's understanding that it is your lifestyle. It is your life to be lived the way that God has intended in the season that you're in, and that we're called to honor the body that we've been given. And so how does honoring your body look like for you? Are you being kind to it? You know, the way you talk to it, or what you put in your mouth? Are you moving it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's so many things, is that if you're not willing to change the things in your life now, like the stressors and in your feelings and emotions and your angerness and your bitterness, to me, supplements will aid, but they ain't going to solve anything.
No,
Those workouts, the workouts, the meal plans, they ain't going to solve everything. And so that's why I'm always about deep work, and then let's figure out the rest.
Right. And you have to understand that the starting point for people, and that's the deeper work. What is it that you really want here? Why do you want that? Why do you want that? What will you get for that? You know, and drilling down into that. And somebody can say, well, I want to lose 30 pounds. All right. Why do you want to lose 30 pounds? Well, I want to be able to move around and be healthier and play with my grandkids. All right. Why do you want to play with your grandkids? Because I want to be around for them. Why do you want to be around for them? I didn't have grandparents. Okay. So now we get to it.
Yeah.
Right? You're sad. You missed out on having grandparents and you don't want to be that person. That's a totally different motivator than I want to lose 30 pounds. Right?
Yeah.
Because you know, it's the same thing as sales. People buy with emotion and justify it intellectually. They're looking at, you know, losing 30 pounds because they see the world tell them they need to lose 30 pounds. But when they really drill down, there's another deeper motivating reason, and reminding them and tying them to that is going to help them to make that progress much more readily and over the long haul, when we just can have that apparent, you know, have that available for them to see. It's really so much more simple. And I'm like you, I can make meal plans, but it's really the difference between giving a man a fish and teaching a man to fish, right? If I give you a meal plan, yes, that can kind of train you if you're open to learning. Right? If you look at those meal plans as lessons as opposed to crutches, right? Yeah. And too many people just want someone to do it for them, but I am not going to be with you when you feed yourself. So I can't be that to you. It's going to be on you anyway. So you might as well train yourself to deal with, like you said, your whole self on a regular basis.
And I think, and I want to make sure I put it in context, meal plans of just kind of the general weight loss. I'm not talking about something like a meal plan that you might have to follow for like a candida, or, you know, if you have specific illnesses, that's different because you're going to have to eliminate some food. But for me, I like to have like lists of food, because like you said, Annie, we're not going to be there with somebody when they're eating. And I want somebody to feel confident enough in the choices that they make, so that every time it's like, it's on them. And I always say faith first, fitness second, so that healthy doesn't have to be hard. Because when we put faith first and we're praying and we're asking the Lord and we're listening to our body, are we burping during our food? Do we have gas? Like all these things, your body's speaking to you in a symptom. And so when we can just tap into what God is saying, or just the awareness, right? And the Holy Spirit just talking to you, fitness is second. So faith first, let's tap into what we're called, what our bodies are doing, how they're operating. Fitness second, and then healthy, it doesn't have to be hard, because we're making it hard. We make being healthy hard.
Right. Well, it's also having a little bit of, again, unrealistic expectations. I think that's why we make it hard, because of impatience and guilt and shame. You know, like, how did I get here? You know, I know for the women in my age bracket, you know, starting maybe in their mid 40s, we have the additional complication of this wild ride of perimenopause and menopause. And it's not something we've ever experienced. I've been fortunate. I mean, true confession, I'm not really there, but I can see and sense some things that are shifting, and I have no idea what's happening. And so I really don't. My mom didn't ever go through it. She, you know, I have no one in front of me that would be of similar genetics to say this is what's going to happen. And so I think that's another opportunity for us to just It's like the lazy river. Just get on your raft and flow with it. You don't fight it. Sleep when you're tired, be away from people if you're crabby, find the supplements that help you, or if you need medical intervention to do that, and try to do whatever you can within your power. But like you said, people just look at it so limited. It's calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
That's all life is about. No, it's not. It's about sleep. It's about relationships. It's about faith and having a spiritual connection to something bigger than you. It's about having goals that are bigger than you. It's about, if I didn't say it, stress and stress management. It's about mental health, all of these things. And when people come to me and they're stuck at a plateau, or I'm working with someone and we're looking at why they might not be making progress, it's people forget there's homeostasis. If you're dropping a lot of weight, you've moved from a comfortable zone that your body wants to be in to some place it doesn't know. Give it a little time to adjust. We're not machines. It'll just dial it down and it automatically goes to that temperature. It's not like an oven. Boop, now we're at 350. Yep, that's right where we are. Doesn't work like that. Yeah. But people have this, I don't know if they don't want to learn or they can't imagine it, but our bodies have a lot more fluidity and nuances and things that are unpredictable. You got to keep your knees bent and kind of flow with it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think even just thinking, we're talking about like all the things not to do, like don't do this, don't do that. And I think just focusing on now, like be like, okay, if we're not supposed to be doing all these things, what should I be doing? And I think it's so important that you just take a moment or take time whenever you're doing quiet time, or you're like, hey, I'm busy. I ain't got quiet time. Mm-hmm. You got in your car or whatever it is, to just stop for a moment and actually feel what you feel. Like, are you angry? Are you sad? Are you bitter? Are you joyful? Are you happy with what you're doing to your body? How you're treating your body? Are you being kind to your body? Just, you need to take an inventory of where you actually are, because then you can actually begin to create a plan. Like I say plan as in what steps then you can go next. Is it apologizing? Is it forgiveness? Is it not being so black and white with workouts? Like, then you can begin to create something that actually does bring you joy, but it takes first the awareness and the inventory in order to move forward.
Right. You can't deal with something when you've not identified it, right? You can't hit a target you can't see. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's really that balance between being overly scheduled and in a box, and everything's in a box and bam, bam, bam. And there's some personality types that actually thrive in that. I'm not really one of those. I always say I like the skeleton and then the freedom to hang the meat on it however I want, but again, and that actually goes back to, what is your personal way of doing things? If we're going to individualize it, like if we have hormonal stuff, blah, 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 we also have how our brains approach things. Do we approach things from fear? Right? Do we approach things out of pressure, or do we approach things from joy and happiness and progress? Then we have the whole personality style. Like, what motivates you? Some people are motivated by safety. So their propensity for change is much slower than someone who's like, I want results now. Mm-hmm. It's the DISC assessments. D's want results right away. I's want recognition. The super extroverted party person, they just want to be seen. Right. And then we have the accountant types, and they want everything to be right and in boxes and predictable, and analysis by paralysis by analysis. And then that safety person. And that drives a lot of how we do things. And we forget about that. How you do anything is how you do everything.
And I always tell people, I'm like, you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. So it's not until somebody sometimes brings the awareness, when I'm working with my clients in the member community, I'm always asking a question to them. So when they ask me a question, I ask them a question. Mm-hmm. Because when I ask them a question, or if I was talking to you and asked you a question, it's giving you now the power to figure it out yourself. Mm-hmm. Versus me saying or telling you, this is what I think. It's you having to take a step back and going, you know what? I've never thought about something like that. I'm going to have to get back to you because we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah. My clients call it either the voodoo, the coaching voodoo, or the mind ninja tricks on them. And I was like, well, I'm just asking you questions, because my firm belief is really that most people know. And when you said like, they don't know what they don't know, they have a knowing inside of them. No one's unlocked that door for them. And asking those questions allows them to go into those places within themselves that the answers actually reside, but they haven't taken the time or known that that was even available. We do have the answers for ourselves. And that really comes, I think, from Holy Spirit, who resides in us. It's just like anytime we want to turn there and go, hey, yo, like, what's up? What do I do now? And they're like, oh, I've been waiting for you to ask. Here's the answer. Here's how you proceed. And you know, that's sort of the bridge, I think, between the physical and the spiritual, right? Which operate at the same time all the time, right? We take that everywhere we go. So this is a really powerful twist on talking about health and talking about fitness and nutrition, because, you know, so many people just compartmentalize it into just the physical, but we're whole beings. You know, what do they say? We're spiritual beings having a human experience, not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're first spirit beings. We're first put here by God, right? And this meat suit is going to dry up and fail us at some point, but we will remain that spirit forever. And I think that's, you know, that's a thing that a lot of people don't tap into. And I'm glad that you are, because you are in this influential position to speak to a lot of women in your age group that really need to hear it. This is a pivotal time when their bodies are changing because they're having kids, or maybe they're, you know, 30 used to be really old to get married, right? But so many people are waiting later, which can butt up against your self-esteem, right? You're like, wow, am I not good enough? No, that's not it at all. That's not it at all. Just keep working on yourself. It's awesome. So I've super enjoyed having you here, Jessica. And I hope that you'll consider coming back again, because I think that we have a lot of topics that we can continue to develop together through our perspectives and the ways that we kind of approach, which is similar, but different, of course.
You know. Absolutely. No, thank you so much for having me. It's always fun to come on and just chit chat.
Yep. And that's what I like to have it be on the show, is just an opportunity for people to listen to two people talk about a common topic and glean from it action tips, encouragement, inspiration, that kind of thing. So hopefully you've done that as a listener to the Bold, Brave, and Sassy show, that you've gleaned something positive, encouraging, hopeful for your life. That's what it's all about. So I hope that you'll join us again here on the Bold, Brave, and Sassy show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, leave us a review, share it with your friends, all of those great things. It's much appreciated. So for now, this is Annie Berryhill saying bye-bye, and hopefully you'll come back another time and join us. Thanks.